We're going to start the press conference today, and I'm going to say a few words. I'm joined by a number of residents from the Stony Brook Setauket area that are concerned about the quality of life, housing conditions in their community. I'm also joined by County Legislator Kara Hahn and Councilman Steve Fieri-Rosenfeld, as well as our Deputy Town Attorney Dave Moran and some of his investigators and prosecutors. Investigators and prosecutors, just raise your hand, guys. We got some of them here.
Some out there.
Some of them out there.
Oh, yeah. Okay. We don't want to blow their cover.
We don't want to blow their cover. All right. We're here today because we're greatly concerned about the violations that have been taking place over the last few months and years in this community of our housing code. We've had a number of investors that decided to enrich themselves by violating our housing code and buying up single-family homes, chopping them up, and creating rooming houses, specifically catering to students from Stony Brook University. Earlier this year, myself, Councilman Fieri-Rosenfeld, met with the president of the university and his staff in my office to discuss these issues. We specifically talked about so many of these students being taken advantage of living in illegal housing. The university assured us that they will allow Mr. Moran, our Deputy Town Attorney, to attend their next orientation for freshmen, and that they will post on their website a clear message that if you're going to rent in the community, make sure that whom you're renting from will have rental permits. As far as the town is concerned, I can tell you now, as supervisor of this town, I will not tolerate these type of illegal housing situations that threaten our quality of life. Specifically, and this will be offered, this is a resolution I've drafted with the help of the Town Attorney's Office, will be offered at our work session and voted on at our town board meeting on April 2nd. We will be amending Section 85 of our code to increase the fines for those who create these illegal rooming houses in our community. The first offense, the fine will go from $2,000 to $5,000. And for the second offense, it will go from $3,000 to $10,000. We are also amending Section 82 of our code to increase fines to correspond with Chapter 85 to give us more power to combat these new issues related to illegal student rental housing. In addition, we're seeking to amend Section 85 of our code to ensure that landlords do not pave their front lawns and create parking lots where front lawns should be, as some of them have done. Over the next few weeks, in discussions with members of my town board, we will be looking to revise the rental permit registration process by changing the duration from 2 years to 1 year to give us a better handle on these people, because they do not have always the best interest. Now, there's some people that rent their homes out, that's fine. It's a single-family home, they rent it, they stay within the law. But the people that have been buying up these houses don't stay within the law. We will be also looking to address these issues with our tax assessor. If they're going to convert residential property to commercial property, maybe we need to up their assessment as well. Yeah. Not only that, but this is a cash business. You want to rent a room? It's $500, $600 a month. I've instructed our town attorney's office on all of these locations to contact the IRS to make sure hopefully that's not a fire, to make sure that not only our government not only, but the federal government's involved to bring an end to this illegal housing. I am also considering a proposal to register all vacant properties, this deals with foreclosures as well, throughout the town and rental properties with the town clerk's office. I believe that that type of registration will give us a better handle on what's going on. And we are considering a proposal to have landlords seeking rental permits to appear in front of our accessory apartment review board and expand the powers of that board. Okay.
Maybe someone's trying to get
So we want to send a message today. If you're going to come into our community, if you're going to carve up these houses, create illegal rooming houses, creating safety and health conditions, we're going to go after you, and we're not going to stop. We have a None of this is easy. Sometimes we can't get into a house and we have to try to get search warrants. None of this is easy because you go into district court against these people and they adjourn their cases. They have attorneys that do that, and they're entitled to do that under the law. But I will tell you this. I've learned one lesson in a long life. Nothing beats persistence. We are not going to stop. It may take us months to shut down a house, and it may, because we have to follow the law. They don't, but we do. But we will use every power at our command to shut down these illegal rooming houses. We had a case of a young man that was a chemistry student that created a fire in his room. There were 6 rooms, all with interior locks. The other people in the house didn't know his name, didn't know who he was. These are unsafe conditions that are being created in our community. And we're joined with a number of people today, and I'm going to ask first if our legislator, Kara Hahn from the county, would say a few words.
Thank you, Legislator Romaine. Never underestimate the power of community action, and that is really, really clear here today. I thank everyone from the civics, from the community, for your persistence. And now government has to be persistent to make sure that we really can take care of this problem in our neighborhoods. This is not a new problem, which, we surround a growing university, but for too long, we've been slow to respond to the complaints of our neighbors. The town and government has been. And the problem grew. And this is no longer a student or two renting spare space in grandma's empty nest. This is a problem has grown to really slumlord proportions. And it's endangering the lives of students, and it is harming the quality of life in our community. Again, thank you to the town for the actions to change the law. They made some changes last fall, and today for working to increase the fines and fees so that landlords can no longer see them as just the cost of doing business. Again, thank you to our neighbors, to the civics, to everyone who has worked so hard on this. Look at this turnout today. It is really amazing. This is the power of community action. Keep it up. Thank you.
Kara,
Thank you.
once again, we're partners in government.
Thank you.
Bruce, do you want to say a few words?
Absolutely. As you've heard,
A few words.
I'm a man of few words, as many of you know. This organization started only about 2.5 weeks ago and has now grown to well over 300 homeowners. When I became aware of this, my neighbor was walking down a block, and I started talking to him. Never met Tony in the 6 years I've been here, my neighbor Tony DeRosa. And I really got upset when I just spent $70,000 on my own home to watch the value drop overnight when 2 college homes invaded our territory. That is one of 17 that I know just in our immediate area, not to say the 60 or 70 or 80 or 90 that we're finding out about now. We are grateful for the help the town of Brookhaven is putting forth to combat this infestation of investors buying up our single-family homes and cutting them up into college boarding houses. I don't have to say what the effect is. It's devastating on all of us. They are blatant violations of our codes. Mr. Romaine has stated, as he has today, and we are very grateful, whatever resources are required to change the laws where needed, enforce the current ones, and work closely with the community, you who all showed up today, to get the situation resolved once and for all. We are confident that Mr. Romaine and his town board will do whatever that is needed to correct the college boarding house infestation that is destroying our single-family neighborhoods. Our organization has prepared a bulleted list, which I'll present to Mr. Romaine today, of things that we put together that can address this situation at the town level or the legal level. Mr. Romaine and his constituents have already addressed, as you've heard today, some of our suggestions when we met in his office in a close quarters several weeks ago. He's already put them into play, and we really thank him for that. One of our immediate requests is to establish internal communication between the building department, its inspectors, along with the town attorney. These rental registrations have to be stopped immediately when they walk in the door. As Mr. Romaine has said, they are changing internal workings, and we really appreciate it, that these people don't walk out with that rental registration, that they do go, as he said, just like an accessory apartment, before the board, and they have to be scrutinized before they are opened. Again, I thank you very much, Mr. Romaine, for all your help.
Is there anyone else that you'd like to speak to? I would like to take the board.
As we heard, a lot has been done already, but more needs to be done much more quickly to stop this from continuing. I lived in my home for 30 years. I used to see young families come in, invest in their properties, improve their properties, have their children play in the front lawn, and know who their neighbors are. Now, we don't see that anymore. That has stopped. We need to bring the family back into a single-family neighborhood. We need those children. We need those children to come out the door, make friends with kids their own age, go to our schools, and establish long-lasting relationships with them. That's what we need to do, and the support from the councilman, the supervisor's office, the town attorney's office, and the building department will help us do that. And the university. The university has to step up also. They are doing things. I think they need to do more quickly. I need for them to identify to us what their growth projections are in student population and what the additional dormitories that they're going to put on the campus in the next year or so is going to accommodate. I do not think it's going to accommodate the full growth in population. So there might be other alternatives, maybe looking for an apartment complex zoning that they could put these students in. These are some of the things that we'd like to see done, and with the town behind us and the residents in the community, I think we can get that done.
You've raised an excellent point, and we do want to work with the university. If they would like to do a multifamily on their campus, we're interested in assisting in any way we can. We're going to hear from two more speakers. The guy that's heading up this investigation and this entire effort, our Deputy Town Attorney, Dave Moran.
First of all, I'd like to thank all of you for coming, because without community support, we can't do our job. We have town-wide enforcement. Without the eyes and ears on the street of the community letting us know, hey, just so you know, beds are coming out, beds are coming in. Just so you know, I talked to a real estate agent, 3 more houses were picked up. Soon as we get them on our radar, the quicker we could act. The supervisor and the town board has dedicated the resources necessary to tackle the job at hand, and that's important. We need to protect the streetscapes, the residential integrity of our neighborhoods is important. They need to be single-family homes. You have an absolute right to rent your home. You don't have an absolute right to get rich doing it at the expense of the good citizens of the town of Brookhaven who abide by our laws, have invested in their communities, just to watch it go away so someone can make a quick dollar. That is not going to happen. I can guarantee you, not on the supervisor's watch, and certainly not on my watch.
They want to explain how many we have under investigation.
We currently have approximately 50 houses either in court or under investigation at various levels.
From this community.
From this community.
50.
Some will be actions that we're taking in Supreme Court, some we're going to handle at the district court level, but rest assured, if you give us a house, it will be investigated. Rest assured, if there are violations there, they will be prosecuted. One of the things at the supervisor's request that we're also going to try and seek down in our district court is enforcement under the penal law, where it says we can go after 2 times the amount profited from the crime. And if we blow up the business model, the business closes, whether it's an ice cream parlor or an illegal rental house. If you blow up the business model, it will close. Every time these landlords turn around, hopefully they're going to be hit with a fee, a fine, an attorney fee, a permit, something that, as the supervisor said, or the legislator said, it's not the ordinary course of business anymore. When they come into district court, where 5 years ago the fine was $250 and now it's $25,000, that's going to send a message. When they go to Supreme Court and they're paying their attorney $10,000 as opposed to $700 to appear in district court, that's going to send a message. When they have to renew that permit every year and invest the money to go before a board and send out mailings, that's going to send a message. And this is a town-wide effort, but it starts here in this community. Thank you.
You know, I want to thank the supervisor in particular for stepping up here and helping us with this ever-growing problem. Let's give him a round of applause for helping us do this. I have to say, as we all know, a house divided cannot stand, and I know the supervisor and I are completely in lockstep on this issue to reclaim our community from what's going on here. And I'll just tell you, there's a whole series of bills you heard the supervisor mention, resolutions that I'm going to be co-sponsoring with the supervisor or voting in support. But there are other issues administratively you have to face as well. I know the supervisors become aware of it. The man behind me, Dave Moran, and the law department investigators that are here have been doing an incredible job. Let's give them a round of applause, too. There have been some what I can term rogue efforts, let's say, even within the building department, you know, fighting at odds. They're upholding state building and fire codes, and the law department's upholding the town codes. We got to make sure that that comes to an end. Please support that. Support that effort. We need administratively, and I've heard it today from the supervisor, and I really appreciate it, the authorizing of nighttime overtime, of whatever it takes from the law department investigators. I'm so grateful I've heard that from the supervisor, that we're going to do that and give these law inspectors and law investigators the tools they need to make certain that those 50 houses or so, it's going to keep decreasing and decreasing, so there's less and less in our community. So I want to appreciate that, the law department staffing and nighttime overtime that's needed, and even the proper equipment in some cases. We need, lastly, to demand from the university that they beef up. They've made efforts now. They've heard the community. I've told them in the last couple of years this is a growing issue. They've got to use their student conduct code when it becomes issues where students themselves, their own behavior, occasionally, these issues are the students' behavior themselves. They need to use the student conduct code appropriately, even when it's off campus. They need to use the Interfraternity Sorority Council administration that they have on the campus, and they need to use, in some cases, if it's parts of an organized sports team that's renting an off-campus house, they need to use their influence over the coaches. And I'm just grateful that they've come to the table, they met with the supervisor and I, but they need to move a little more aggressively, a little more assertively to use their powers so that the town-gown relations could only go and improve. So with that being said, I want to thank the ever-vigilance of the people in this room, because in the end, government is only as effective in a democracy as the people make it. So I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out today.
I'd like to thank all of those who came out here today. Your message is heard loud and clear. And I would tell every landlord who wants to invest in a house and chop it up and make it an illegal rooming house, look around today. We are not going to let you come into our communities and destroy our communities and our quality of life. We have a housing code for a purpose. We will stand with you. We will fight with you. This will not be done overnight. But we will not give up until it's done. and we will pass these codes, and we will move aggressively against those who would destroy our quality of life. Thank you so much for coming today, and I'll certainly be around to talk with you and take whatever questions you would have afterwards.